Hey everyone, it's Lisa with Are You My Cousin? And it's Thursday, so it's time for another genealogy chat here at the Are You My Cousin Facebook page or YouTube channel, whichever you are viewing from. So I'm excited to have you guys join me today. We've got lots of really fun things to talk about. If this is your first time joining me, welcome, welcome. I'm so glad that you are here. And again, my name is Lisa Lisson, and I run the website Are You My Cousin, where I really strive hard to help take the overwhelm out of your genealogy research. So if you are just joining us, if somebody wants to give me a thumbs up or something, let me know that you are seeing everything, or if you want to just pop in where you're viewing from. I am broadcasting to you from my office in North Carolina, where it is quite a warm July day. I really can't believe it's July 1st already, guys. Can you? So anyway, it's a great day to be. It's a great time to be inside and doing genealogy, right? And then when it cools off, I'll head back outside later today. So welcome, guys. I'm glad that you are here. So I have some announcements to make. Hey, Lily, so glad you could join us. Yay. Hey, Catherine from West Tennessee. Yes. Hey, L. Wilson, glad that you guys are here. Hey, Barbara, good that you are here from Berkeley. And so I'm excited to have everybody here. Hey, Anne from Knoxville. I love Knoxville, guys. You guys know I spend some time there when I visit my daughter. So yes, lovely there. All right, guys. So a couple really fun announcements that are happening. So number one, you probably noticed there's an extra post this week over on the website, and we're going to be talking about that a little bit more for you guys. But I did write an extra blog post for you guys going into the holiday weekend. I think you might enjoy it because you'll be talking. You may be getting together with family, and you may find it helpful. So that's actually what we're going to talk about today, and part of it. I've got some fun things to show you and to help you kind of build more of your genealogy family history, kind of gathering some of that over the holiday weekend as we go. So super excited about that. Also want to share with you guys, it is now out there that starting next week, July 6th, which is Tuesday, because the 4th is on Sunday, or kind of I think the holiday is actually being observed on the 5th, that Monday. So Tuesday, we're the 6th, we're back to normal. And I am embarking on a summer road trip. It's a virtual one. And guess what? My traveling companions are FindMyPast. It's those wonderful folks over at FindMyPast. And we are going to be going to 4 different cities. We are going to be exploring and taking a road trip through their U.S. records to help us be able to add to our family history and show us what we might be missing and how they can help us out with our research. So I am so excited to be doing this. This is going to run for about 8 weeks, guys. So you'll be seeing us talking, and you'll learn more about it next week. Watch your email from me, and then as well as watch the Facebook page as either at FindMyPast or at Are You My Cousin, and you'll find details there. So really excited to be taking that virtual road trip with them through genealogy records, because hey, who doesn't like to just wander through the records, right? I do. All right, I've been seeing more folks coming in here. Hey, Danny from rainy Loveland, Ohio. Could you please send me some of that rain? Now, we could really use some of that. Definitely. Hey, Diane, Flo from Oregon, Althea, wonderful, from Canada. Yay. Hey, Diane from Nebraska. So we are really covering kind of everything. Hey, Cameron, it's good to see you as well. Excellent. And so we are glad that you're here. All right, so let's jump in. I want to go ahead and give you the link to the post, the second post today. So this week. I did one earlier this week. We've got another one that came out today. Hey, Faye, good to see you from Florida. So I have another one coming out today that's called 3 Great Benefits of Crowdsourcing Your Genealogy, Crowdsourcing Family Stories from Old Photos. This is one I was actually going to do a few weeks ago, and I just didn't feel like I had it all together. And so I decided to postpone it and make sure I had all my ducks in a row before I actually brought it to you. So that's what I've done. It is no surprise for any of you guys who have watched me for a long time or read my blog. You know that I have a true love of old family photos. I was fortunate that I inherited a lot. They just kind of keep finding their way to me, as people know that I do genealogy research for the family. So when closets get cleaned out and they don't want to throw something away, they actually will send them, people send them to me. So sometimes it's virtual, digital copies. Sometimes it's literally, I've gotten pieces of like cabinet cards in the mail. And my dad, who is very good at Photoshop, puts them all back together for me, which I'm very appreciative of. So I have a lot of photos, but in those, I also have some that are not, that I don't know who they are. And that's my goal, is to get them going, to get them all identified. And I realized something, that I'm at the point, and I have been for a while, that I need help with those things. I need a lot of help to get those things, to be able to actually identify all of them, because I simply just don't have the background knowledge. And then I started digging into some of them a little bit deeper. You know how you have those photos that you took growing up at family places, and you would have the photo and you would get the double prints, or it was like a mistake that you took, because, you know, now it's obviously we just delete them off the phone. But, you know, you always have those where, you know, they were taken and they might be a little out of focus, or they really weren't, just kind of a general shot. They really weren't taking up anything specific, kind of thing. Well, somehow people just kind of kept those. And I actually have some of those. And so I was like, so why were they kept? And what was the person trying to capture there? And I started kind of getting into some of those, going, well, maybe there's something here that I can use. So that's sort of where I am with my photos, because I want to make sure I'm getting every single piece of possible information or a clue to help me with my research. And I'm always amazed at how that just, it takes a while, but it kind of comes to the surface. So anyway, back to really needing help to get these things done. I realized I needed to do that. And I have kind of over the years piecemealed it, where I would email a photo to people, to family members and cousins, and get them back. And so the real positive thing when it comes to mining the stories and asking about photographs and asking family is that it does help get people identified. And I think one of the bigger things is that it allows us, when we ask for help, when we crowdsource a photograph, information for a photograph. And by crowdsource, what I mean is I'm putting it out there to a group of people and saying, please help me. So it's kind of that we can work for a group. I'm getting it in front of other people and seeing what their ideas are. So that's the term that I'm using, crowdsourcing family stories, or crowdsourcing genealogy. Totally made that up on my own, guys. But so that's what I'm trying to do with these photographs. And like I said, the benefits of that, just right off the top, I'll give you the spoiler here. I get photos identified. I connect with more family members that way. And I'm sorry, I forgot to turn on my phone. And I find stories that I didn't necessarily know were there. And I understand meanings that I didn't necessarily know were there. So that's the important part with that. And I want to take you over, and I'm going to show you about a tool that I'm starting to use now to get people to kind of help. And I find it easier to share photographs like that. I've been playing around with Ponga, Ponga. I should probably put that link in the comments for you guys. And guys, just a note, if you are watching this on a replay, if you are particularly on YouTube and watching the replay, you'll see the chat pop up on the right. It doesn't show up in the comments below, but it pops up on the right when you watch the replay. So I just wanted to clarify that, because sometimes people miss the chat part on the replay. Okay, so there's the link to Ponga. And I'm going to share my screen here in just a minute and show you that. But let me just make sure I'm not missing any comments, because I see lots of things popping up over here to the right. You guys know, if you're new, I'm a one-woman show over here most of the time. Hey, Amy is from Northwest Oregon. Oh, guys, I hope you guys are staying cool over there, Amy. I know you guys have had some really tough heat. Hey, Kathy from Michigan and Diane from Ohio. Yay, I'm so glad everybody's here. Oh, my God. Erin Lee back from Idaho. Yay. So this is wonderful. All right, so I want to go over and show you how I am going to crowdsource using Ponga. So there's a bit of a process that I've kind of started thinking through and how I want to do things. So let me share my screen with you guys. Here we go. And I think you guys can see that okay. I am going to hop over. So here we go. Yes, so I'm inside Ponga, and this is Ponga, as you can see here, and I've uploaded my photos. Very simple to upload, guys. This is pretty typical of any site that you're working on. You would just hit upload, and you upload your photographs. So I'm going to actually pull you into this one first. And let me turn that, whoops, let me turn that off. So this is a photograph. You'll see this one on the blog post, guys. And these are my Haley family. These are the kind of the women at a family reunion, from what I can tell. And we have several generations here, because this is my great-grandmother, this is my grandmother, this is an aunt. So there's a lot going on in this photograph when I started looking at it. Honestly, guys, other than those three women, I had no idea who the other people were in this particular photograph until I started asking. Now, to do that, originally what I ended up doing was just emailing it back and forth to various cousins. But this actually might be an easier way to do this for my photograph. Now, what I did originally was, because you guys know I like to use Vivid-Pix, I used that to enhance the photograph. It was a very faded, so that's why it looks kind of brown here and gray. That's kind of what the original photograph looked like. But Vivid-Pix cleaned it all up for me and gave me a really nice, the best copy I could get. And I uploaded it here. Now, here's the really thing that I like to do, is that I could go in, and with this little tool right here, I can select different people. So I can literally, just draw it out however I want to do it. And so I could add comments. So this is my grandmother here, and I was able to add a comment. It opened it up, and I just said, this is Anita Carr Talbot, my grandmother, and she's the daughter of Winnie Carr. So I have that there. So if anybody's looking at this, then they would know that that's who that is. This little girl right here, clicking on her, that's my aunt, and I think she may have been 7 or 8, but I'm not sure. So what I would probably do is hit share, and then I would invite my aunt to come look at that and say, hey, was that you? That was you, right? And how old were you in that? Because that way I can date the photo specifically. I think it was 1946, late 1940s, probably. So probably after the war, but I'm not 100% sure when. So that would be it. This was a fun thing to do. So this is my great-grandmother, and so I could write about her. So I wrote about a little bit of not just her as an identification, but here are the stories that I remember from her, and things that I've noticed. So in the first one I had mentioned, she always smiled in all of the photos, guys. I don't know that I've seen a photo of her where she wasn't smiling. And I thought that was really interesting. And I actually remember her very vaguely. She was a very old woman at the time. And so I don't even remember her face, but I just kind of remember a presence, more or less. And I remember breaking a glass at her house. I don't know why I remember that, but I do. And then I had some stories that my dad shared with me, which this one on the bottom, guys, is hysterical. She did not believe in daylight savings time. So, when daylight savings time came along, she never changed her clocks. She always operated off of Eastern Standard Time. I really am not sure how that all worked out, but it did for her, I guess. But she never did. I actually have her clock. And when my dad handed the clock off to me this summer, he said, the clock can never be set on anything other than Eastern Standard Time. You cannot change it back. You cannot change it during Eastern Daylight Time. So that clock never goes to daylight savings time. So, but this is the kind of story I can add. And by sharing it, when I click share, I can invite others to add the comments as well to be able to share the stories, because these are the stories that I need. Out of this particular picture, I highlighted the crock because I got to thinking about, I'm interested in culinary heritage. I want to know what's in the crock. What is the occasion and what is in all these crocks? Now, because this would have been a really rural area, I actually suspect it was a crock of water probably, but I don't know. So I'm really kind of curious about that, and I can highlight different things that way and say, does anybody know why were they getting together for this particular occasion, and where were they getting together? Because by doing that, if I know those clues, that helps me identify other people in the photo. In other words, I know it narrows down who could possibly be in the photo. If I can get that time figured out, if I can figure out what the occasion was, I can then be able to figure out a little bit more about who was there. I can start to pick up some personalities here. Whereas my great-grandmother always smiled in every photo, my grandmother rarely smiled in a photo. on those younger years. So it's a really interesting thought process there. The other one I wanted to show you guys as well, it was this one that I worked on. This was new to me, guys. This is a brand new photograph to me just this summer. And it is, honestly, I don't know. I know who it came from. And I'm not 100% sure how to identify it. But again, what I did is I went in and I started to leave notes. So of who I think this older couple is, that I think that, and why I think, because she has this asymmetry of the face, and why I think that's Clara Holt Haley. Oh, I'm sorry, not Clara Holt. I think it's her mother. So I could leave that there, and then the goal is I've identified people to share this with so that I can send this out and start asking people, okay, look at these notes that I've made. Look at this note I made on this gentleman here. Look at, does anybody know what this group is? Do they know what the house, whose house this was? Does anybody recognize it? Because I don't, and I've got to get it in front of more people. What I'm hoping is, because it's a group of people, that more copies exist, and if I can find somebody with a copy, that would help me out. So that's kind of where I'm going with all of that. So let me come back to you guys so I can see you guys. Let me check and see what you guys, let me see the comments down here, make sure everything's got to go. Barbara says, got to appreciate the defiance of defiance of daylight savings time. Great minds think different. It's a great reminder that the concept was new back then, and you're wondering now about the history of daylight savings time. I know, I was kind of wondering about that too. I need to go back and look at it. It's a clock that chimes and whines, but I have it, while I have it and have it set up, I actually don't keep it wound because it will sit me straight up in the middle of the night. But I do have the clock, and it does work, and it does only work on Eastern Standard Time. Diane says she has photos like that, or wedding group photos. Yes, and all the women were in white. I know, isn't that crazy, Diane? Because then it's hard to figure it out. Diane, one thing you might want to do when you have like a group photo, like with particularly a wedding, sometimes if you can enlarge it, so you might want to get it enhanced, whether you use MyHeritage enhancement tool, Vivid-Pix. Again, you guys know I like Vivid-Pix for that. And then get it enlarged. Start looking around at potential jewelry that the women might be wearing, because you might start to see a brooch that perhaps you've seen in other photographs, to kind of help narrow down things as well. And again, because it's a group photo, if you know the family and can start to disseminate the picture, and or invite people to see that picture, you might have a better chance of seeing somebody else who has a copy as well. That concept of getting eyes on the photo, it's been with me for a while, and it really was driven home when it was a picture of my great-grandmother, not this other one you just saw, it's a different one, of Esther. You guys have probably seen her in my writings before. And I was able to connect with a researcher who lives in Alaska. And he said, you know what? He said, I recognize that photo. And it's this very kind of formal photograph of her. And he said, that's in my grandmother's photo album. So when they would take some of these more formal photographs, and particularly like a group photograph, you might find other copies within the family. And so that's kind of what you're hoping to do. Somebody who's seen it, somebody who might actually own it would be very helpful for that. And the way that I go about looking for people to invite to look at my photo, like I did on Punga, or whether I email it, however, is first of all, I go to family, guys, you know that. I ask family, and that's, the immediate family, but I don't stop there. It's so important. Don't stop with the immediate family. Go to the distant cousins, go to the collateral families. I have had occasions where people would identify somebody that I need to talk to. I would reach out to them. Actually, what I would do is a lot of times I would send a snail mail note that, I'm Lisa, this is what I do, and I'm I'm the great-granddaughter of Winnie Haley Carr. My grandmother was Anita Carr, et cetera, et cetera. I'm like, and I'd like to talk, I'm going to give you a call next week. And guys, I would say about 90% of the time when I've done that, when I make that phone call to talk in person, I get this wonderful response of, I have been waiting for your phone call. Yes, I want to tell you about some of this. I've seen that picture. Catherine, you know Robert King? Yes, that's exactly who it was. Okay, Catherine, we'll have to talk about that another time. But yes, Robert King is the one in Alaska who had my family photograph of my great-grandmother. Oh, that just so went off track there for a second. But yes, so reaching out to other people. And if maybe you don't have many family to reach out to, that does not mean you are off the hook, guys. Okay, you are not off the hook yet. You still have to reach out so you can find other people. One of the ways I do is I will contact local historical societies, local genealogy societies in an area where my ancestors live. And I usually will do something of reaching out and saying, I have photographs of people, who lived in this area. These are the family names. I would love to be able to share or contact anybody else researching this particular name. Would somebody be willing to reach out to me? So that's exactly what I'll do, because to find people. In fact, that's worked a couple of times for me to be able to do that, because they are looking for people. They're looking for photographs. I'm looking for photographs. So we're all looking just to share back and forth that way. And then, guys, the other thing is I would dare say 99% of us out on the call today have ancestor or have a tree at Ancestry, at FindMyPast, at MyHeritage. We have online family trees somewhere. And we research in those databases. Go in and see who else is researching your family line and those surnames, and reach out. Reach out to those DNA matches and see where you're crossing. Do they have photographs? Do they recognize your photographs? Again, all of this will help to pull in more and more people to look at that photograph. Maybe you're just looking for stories. Maybe it's not even photographs. Maybe you're just trying to get more information, and that's exactly what you can do. We have to get off the computer. Carol says, you're wondering if the house was added on to hoping for a date of building times. Thanks for your helpful ideas, Carol. So yes, it's possible that house had some additions added on, which would help, or getting a closer look at the house in that photograph I was sharing could be helpful with that. I know in a previous YouTube, Facebook Live, I had Helen Tovey of the Family Tree Magazine UK version, and we were talking about house histories, and she was showing us, understanding the type of different housing and when it might have been built, and those kinds of things were very helpful in dating and determining who might have been living there at one time. So that's actually a really, really good idea, Gabrielle. Thank you so much. That particular home that they were all in front of, if it's who I think, if that family is the family I think it is, I believe it to be the Holt family. I believe them to have been living up in the northern part of Halifax County, Virginia, southern part of, what's across the river there? It's not Campbell County, maybe. Anyway, up in that northern part of Halifax County, Virginia. And I suspect that is who that family is, but I do not recognize the house. I do not believe it's the house that was on my side of the family, but it could have been one of the other family members. So yes, absolutely. I'm kind of hoping to see what I can find on that. So that's what I have, guys. I would encourage you to check out the post today. You will be getting an email just to remind you about it tomorrow. So sorry to drop in on your inbox on a Friday, but it's going to be there. But I also wanted you guys to have that so that as you're going through the holiday weekend, if you're seeing family, I want to encourage you and remind you just to keep reaching out. Oh, and my best tip ever, guys. Well, I call it my best tip ever because it's been so helpful to me. When you find someone, one person, you find somebody and you interview them, maybe they're a family member, maybe they're a collateral researcher, always ask them, who else should you talk to? Okay, don't ever leave that conversation without asking that, because you will find some of the best resources that way. You just it's like pulling a string and you just keep going and going and going. and you never quite know where you're going to end up at. But I have found some of my best contacts and resources and new cousins simply by saying, hey, who else should I talk to? And usually they're like, well, my next door neighbor, we grew up together, and they're not related, but they probably know who such and such is. So it's this whole kind of long thing there. But I would encourage you to do that. So definitely. Barbara said some counties maintain archival records for permits taken in home purchase transactions. It's a great way to explore house history. Absolutely. Yeah. Going through those deeds and the permits as well. We'll do that. Understanding too, sometimes in that part of that particular family and understanding their family history is knowing that there were two or three generations within that family who were overseers on a large farm up in that area. So being able to kind of maybe track them down through that as well is a possibility for that too. So, okay, guys. So make sure you're reaching out to family. Make sure you're getting all the eyes as possible on those family photos. Crowdsource those family photos and family stories. It's really nice to have something, if you have access to something like Panga, to be able to play around with it and see, just kind of centralize everything. And if you go to my post today, go to the bottom, because you can, there's an invite there. You can actually go and explore that particular photograph and how I clicked around on it and showed all the comments. You can actually go explore that on your own, just as a guest. So feel free to do that. And then Panga also at the bottom has a wonderful, they're offering my readers a special promotion there. So be sure and go over and check that out there as well. Watch next week, because definitely we are talking with FindMyPast. There are going to be some extra Facebook and YouTube lives coming up over this summer. So be sure and watch Facebook page or your inbox for the emails that come with that. So I'm super excited about that. And I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July, and we will be with you next week. So have a great day, guys. Bye.